Hey guys, welcome back to my room again, and it's been a long time since I've been around doing these videos, and I figured it's time to get back on the ball again, and I want to try and make this into something, or see if it can go somewhere, because there's so many people out there who do need the knowledge and the insight that somebody with autism, and, well, a form of autism can give them. I've been now inspired to try to go out there and at least do this, even if only for a small group of people, and if only, just for my entertainment and not for a job. But my inspiration, I'll say, came from a Let's Player named Jacksepticeye, amazing guy who really went from just doing the traditional path and going to college and going and work and doing the workforce, and found that that just wasn't for him. Just like I don't feel like a traditional path really works for me either, because eventually I'm going to go to some place sort of like he did and realize I can make money doing this other thing that's not a traditional means of working, but is more suited to who I am as a person. While, my all that stuff is a completely different video, I'm just going to start off with something I've seen recently, which, again, inspired me to start this video up again, because having autism or having any mental disease is a really hard road to be on, whether you're on the high functioning end or whether you're on the low functioning end, or whether you're somewhere right in the middle. I'm on the high middle end because I've got abilities. I've gone to school and got my education. I even have a college degree, which most people, when they see me, they don't see disability, so they don't know why don't I have a job? Why am I not living on my own? Why don't I have a family at this point? And I'm 30 years old and I don't have these things. So what's my problem? Well, the problem goes much deeper, and the sort of basis for this video is going to come from a BuzzFeed article that I've read recently about somebody who is severely autistic. They're on the far end of the scale, far away from who I am, but it just shows you how hard it is even for them, because the world hasn't yet caught up to what needs we really have. And this article comes from out of England, I do believe, according to what I've been reading here. And it's severely autistic. They have about the mental capacity of about a 5-year-old kid, not a 5-year-old student. What am I talking about? And so keep that in your head. Think about what you were probably like when you were 5 years old. How little you did know about the world and about yourself, and how much you need to be taken care of by your parents. That's the situation that this girl is in, and she needs 24-hour care. She can't live on her own like some other people who are on an autism scale. But she was originally at a boarding school that was taking care of all these problems for her, and she was set up, but they had to take drastic steps because they were contacted, and it said the specialist school that she was at was no longer able to care for her. Well, her mom contacted the local council or school and said, hey, I need to have more help and need more time to figure out where she can go to get the help that she needs. And she waited and waited, and for 4 months she didn't hear anything from the government at large to help her, because her parents aren't in a state to help her the way she needs to be helped. So, unfortunately, what they were thinking of was that they aren't going to just send her into some sort of mental hospital, because in what goes in the back of their minds, not any of those horror movies we see out there about mental hospitals and stuff like that, but they think of a place that they've stated is called Winterbourne, who was shut down because of the abuse that was found at the facility of the people that were cared for, and the level of problems that they had there. And so they are afraid of sending her somewhere else that might do the same thing, that would make her problems worse. And rightly so, they're scared. So what does this woman do? This woman had to go out and apply to say that her daughter is homeless. Now, we know what homeless is as Americans. We've seen homeless people on the streets. If you live in a major city, they are everywhere. You may not see them all the time, but they're there. And, that's an unfortunate part of society at this point, and a lot more people are ending up into the homeless lifestyle and having to live in shelters and things like that. And they barely get any assistance at all, if at anything. They may not even have family to help them out. And so it was after she finally put her daughter out there as officially homeless that she finally got contacted by the local council. And it took that much for them to actually go and say, oh, okay, now we'll look at her case now, and don't worry, we're going to contact you any day now, or whatever lies they might have told. But that just says something, because this girl, with a mental ability of a 5-year-old and multiple other issues like learning disabilities, epilepsy, and cognitive impairment, can't just do things on her own. She needs somebody to keep an eye on her and to help her grow and learn and try to function the best that she can and keep her as happy and healthy as possible, because she can't do that on her own. Here's that girl, and it's got to be obvious that she's needed this help, because there's probably dozens and dozens of hundreds of thousands of doctor visits and notes and studies they probably went through to find out just what it is that's going on with their daughter, and it just got ignored. And up till now, they've had no recourse to help her. Maybe they don't even have the finances to help her, but they needed to get her on sort of what we now call disability services, which we have here, but a lot of people take advantage of the system, and so that's not as easy to get as most people would want. But here they are in this situation, and they had to go to an extreme measure just to get there. Now, am I saying that you need to make yourself homeless and declare yourself homeless to get any help? Definitely not. That should be the complete last resort for any of this stuff. But you need to know that's how hard it is to even do that over in another country, where we, as Americans, think, hey, they've got it so much better over there. They've probably got a great healthcare system. They don't have to worry about all the politics that we've got over here, like who's going to go for Trump or who's going to go for Hillary or whoever. But they still have these issues just like we do. They may not be the same group of people. They're going to be different people, but they're still going to do this. And even I lately have been going through the ringer for this. I'm having to start everything all over from scratch, because we didn't know the right questions to ask. We didn't know the right people to go to. We didn't know to not say no, to not accept that no, that they can't do something, because they can. You just have to know what you're going to say. You have to know the right questions to ask. And if you don't, you're just lost. Now, I've probably talked about before where I'm spitting everywhere. What's wrong with me? I've talked about before the vocational rehabilitation services, which are here in my town and in the next town over, and how much I truly dislike them. I don't use the word hate for really anything, because I don't approve of that word, just as well as I don't approve of the word stupid. But hate is a word I unfortunately apply to them because of the way they treated me when I was there. I felt sort of like a second-class citizen, and like my own mental abilities weren't taken into account. I was treated sort of like a person who had no earthly idea what was going on. And even they knew, because when we first met with them, I told them I had a degree in English. I knew how to type. I knew how to, read books and understand what I had read. I solved puzzles. I played video games. I've got that hand-eye coordination. I'm not good at sports by any means, but I'm good with tinkering and doing artwork and stuff, where I have a whole artwork station over here just for that purpose. So it's something I do that makes me feel happy inside. They knew how high functioning I was, yet they ended up sliding me back farther and farther until I was stuck for 8 hours a day on a computer that teaches you how to type. I don't know if you can imagine how bad that actually was for me, how degraded I actually felt at that moment. And now people are telling me I'm going to have to go put my life in their hands once again. That just feels like a huge leap back for me, where I'm going to have to allow myself to be taken advantage of again, but try to stand my ground this time. And that's what we've been told to do, so we can get sort of more research about information that the government's going to need when we're going to apply for disability again, which we are at some point in the future once we get everything together. And once I get all the things that I need, and we can go back to a judge and say, here, this is the real proof, which I will get into all that later. But now we actually know what to say. We know the right questions to ask. We know that, yeah, I would kind of like a part-time job. Full-time job is just not going to work for me, because that gets into too much social interaction, which most people know that Aspies, like myself, actually have issues with. That is their big, no, we can't do that on a daily basis. Even high-functioning people have a problem with crowds, I'm assuming. But don't quote me on that one. So, they don't get that when I'm down there. So I have to tell them, yes, I want a part-time job, and I think the place I can work at that's not going to stress me out, that I can work part-time hours only, is at a bookstore, because all day long I could talk about books for days. I have books everywhere. I've got too many books. That's why we're redoing an entirely new room to put all of our books in, because we don't have enough space to leave them in our bedrooms any longer. And that's the one way I can at least go and get some social interaction and hopefully find some more friends, because as I might have said before, I don't have any friends I get to go hang out with in real life. All the friends I've had are on the internet. And that, while it satisfies an immediate need, it doesn't satisfy the deeper need to actually have some contact with somebody that's my age or close to my age. That's just not my mother or my brother or my family members, because that gets old really fast, and they know who you are, but they don't have the same interests that you do. I need somebody with the same interests, and maybe at a bookstore I could find that, and maybe going to a bookstore I might meet somebody that might help me with my writing, that might help me get published, or help me with my artwork, and I can get into some art school or something that will really work with me, knowing who I am and knowing my disability, and we can get there with that. I've even considered going to volunteer somewhere, which is completely frightening to me. I will admit that freely. It's not going to be easy for me to get out there, because I am terrified of working again. Because it's been more than 5 years now since I've been in a job. And you think about where you were 5 years ago. That's how long it's been since I've been able to work anywhere, because nobody will hire me. So I'm going to have to see if I can really trust these people to get me into that position and send me on my way, instead of trying to hold on to me and keep what my mom terms as the paycheck, because they get, with so many people that go in there, they get paid for it. So hopefully that process does work out. But with all of this stuff, it's going to still be hard, even with disability. I'm probably even going to get denied again, and I'm going to have to go back a fourth time, or even a fifth time. Because when people notice me, they just notice, oh, she's really intelligent. She's got a good GPA from a reputable college. She's got a degree. She's had jobs in the past. She should be able to find a job now, so there's nothing we could do for her. Well, there is something they can do. Any jobs I'm going to find, again, have to be part-time, because I can't find the right environment in a normal situation to pay for all this stuff. And I'm eventually wanting to live on my own somewhere. And, pardon me, that you can't get that with a part-time job at a bookstore, or anywhere for that matter. Most people are aware of that. I don't have insurance. I don't have dental. I don't have car insurance that protects myself. It only protects the person I hit, but it doesn't help me. So if I get severely injured, I'm up the creek. And at this point, I'm needing the backup, the insurance that disability could provide. But they see me as somebody who's too intelligent. Unfortunately, as I said, the world has not yet caught up with what an Aspie actually is. That an Aspie is someone who has a social disability. It has issues interacting with people around them, and when they're able to do that, they can't do it for as long as somebody else may be able to because it tires them out more. They take in so much all the time that it just completely wipes them out. And I've even had it recently where I've been in an environment I'm completely comfortable with, and I've broken down into tears because I just couldn't take all the stuff going on around me, and I felt completely alone. And they don't realize that being an ASPE can lead to other mental disabilities. I've recently believed that I have fallen into the trap of into depression and anxiety. I'm having panic attacks early in the morning that's only being regulated by medication. That really interferes with having a job, because if you have a panic attack at 4 in the morning, you're not going to be able to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go to your job and be all right. You're going to be a wreck. And, my parent, my mom, my brother, and my therapist, which I do go to a therapist regularly, I recommend highly for that, they all understand that, but the government does not yet. I highly recommend for everybody who watches this video that you don't need to be afraid of having disability. I personally believe that you should be able and feel confident enough to go say, yes, you may not see me having a disability, but I have one. It's just like having depression. A person could be smiling on the outside and screaming out for help on the inside. Don't be afraid about having a disability. Go out there and find the help you really need. If the help you really need is watching these videos and understanding there's somebody else out there in the world, I've done my job. I want people to feel like they aren't alone, and having your support makes me feel like I'm not alone. So we're helping each other out just as much, in both directions here. Because without people like you guys who might be watching my video, I'm not going to be able to keep this up and have a reason to do this. And this is going to help me have the reason to get up in the morning to say, hey, this is something you're going to look forward to tonight. You're going to enjoy doing something again, and you need to get out of bed to do that. Because some days it's just that hard. I do feel very strongly about these people that are having this issue, and I sincerely hope that they get the help for her that she needs, and all my love and support and prayers go out to them. And I honestly hope that if any of you out there is going through the same problems, know that I understand what you're going through. I have now been there. I know how hard it is. I know how gut-wrenchingly horrible and bad you probably feel when you're not given the help and support that you need, when you felt like you've proven to yourself and to other people so many times that this is who you are, that now you've got to start all over again. Don't worry, you've got friends out there, there's people out there, there are groups, there are group homes, which I've heard about. There are tons of people out there who are right in the same line with you. You just don't know them yet. So hopefully through these various videos I will be doing, you'll get to meet some of these people. Maybe someday they'll be able to create a group that all of us can get together and see who each other is face to face, and have just a small meeting of people who understand each other. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like it, I'm on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom, and I really hope I see you in the next video.